Okay, so we are live at BookForge, and you are not going to see my face today. You're just going to see my hands, kind of like Wailing Jennings in the Dukes of Hazzard. We are going to be taking a look at this late 19th century family Bible. I don't have an exact year on it. The copyright page, if you would call it that, doesn't have it. But this is what we're going to be working on. This one here is nice. It still has its hardware intact. And it still has a nice round to the text block. I have one piece of hardware right here that, actually this one here a little bit too. They're going to need to be hammered out. And I don't know if you can see the glistening, but there's lots of tape on here, which everybody knows bookbinders love freaking tape, right?
Oh yeah, love it.
The spine plate pretty much come away. You can't tell because we got it tied up right now. So our goal today is we're going to take a look at this. We are going to dismantle it, and that's probably about as far as we're going to get is the dismantling. We're going to kind of come up with a plan for the restoration. And then over the next couple weeks, while I am working on it, we'll be shooting some video, and those videos, each step, will be released on Patreon. So if you're watching this on Patreon, great, come on back. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll have to go to the Patreon site to see the follow-on videos. And that is patreon.com/bookforge, all one word. All right, so let's, the gold tooling on this is beautiful on the front. The back, and it's got a little bit of rubbing from that. You know, obviously that's where they've been laying it and pushing it around on various surfaces. So we'll address that a little bit later on. The tape is something that we're definitely going to have to address. They've got tape, at least in tape residue, all along the front board. And, you know, they definitely have a whole bunch of tape all up and down the back board. So that's going to need some attention. We're probably going to give a little bit of a treatment to shoring up these corners. Maybe a little bit of leather, replacement, or possibly Hanji, and we'll dye it. So we'll have to make that decision at some point. All right. So yeah, the lady brought it to us with this really cute ribbon on it to hold it together. As you can see, as soon as I release that, the spine plate comes right away. So I don't have to remove this, which is nice. So I'm just going to sit that up there. I'm going to pull these out of the way. So the morning coffee is a must. We had a carbon monoxide alarm go off at 3 o'clock in the morning because no fire alarm battery or carbon monoxide battery dies at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. All right, so turn this over. You can see that board in one of the first sections is going to fall right away. The spine lining is pretty solid. What I'm finding interesting, even just from this particular view, not only are the cords away, I don't see any type of cloth hinge in there, which is unfortunate. When we reline this, we will definitely put a cloth hinge back in or in because it's going to need it. So let's open this thing up. And right away, got this beautiful blue moire pattern on the end papers. We're going to keep all of this intact. No reason really to remove it. And the first pages are tipped in with it. A little inscription here for the family. All right, there's a few pages, maybe the first signature that looks like it's coming away. We'll have to take a look at that. See how much this is actually, yeah. So we'll do a little bit of repair and we'll get those tipped back in. I really don't want to have to re-sew this Bible. I don't think it's going to be necessary. Most of this is intact. All right. So yeah, I don't see any evidence that there was any type of cloth inner hinge, which we'll take care of. The rest of this,
Our new apprentice will probably be able to fix those hinges quite nicely. Seeing that that is what, one of her specialties in college.
well, we'll see. So yeah, what Marcia was just saying is BookForge has a new apprentice. Her name is Sharon. She is a metalsmith, and she got into metalsmithing, making book hardware. So it'll be really interesting to see as she develops as a bookbinder what she brings to the table. Here, I don't want to. All right. The end bands you can see on there are lovely and tall, and they're intact, which is good. And same with this side. So when we get into this, we're going to remove those. We'll definitely keep them and reuse them. So let's turn this over, see what we got on this side. So this hardware looks like it's already coming away. All right. So I'm going to grab some boards to support the cover. You just don't want to flop this open and indiscriminately break it. This inner cloth has seen some better days. Looks like there might have been some spider in here. We'll get that cleaned off. We'll reinforce the cloth, but again, we'll leave this all intact as we're going through the restoration process. Oh, right on. So here's, oh, there's a cloth in here. Look at that. All right, a bunch of, looks like birth and death newspaper articles. All right. I have to see where I'm going to take this apart. Yeah, this is sewn in there rather nicely. I don't want to cut into that.
Can you easily fix the hinge, that cover without taking it apart? I mean, how do you do that? Like, what kind of a process are you looking at?
That needs to be determined, but
Or, yeah, just wondering if you would cut it in.
all right. I think I'm going to separate it here. So that camera just clicked.
Push the red button, right?
Nope, you have to pull that lever down.
Hold it. Watch. Oh. Now you push the red button. Oh.
All right, this paper is very, very brittle. I think we're going to separate it right here. All right. So I'm going to turn all of this. I'm going to use my spatula to separate where these are tipped together. And that's probably not the best angle for the camera. And I'm just going to rock this apart. I've got a newspaper article stuck. Of course, there's tape there. All right. So it looks like I've got some thread holding the case on. Okay, release there. And there's one cord that's still holding this together. There we go. All right. All right, keep that there. All right, I'm gonna have to get this in a lying press to work that spine, but I'm gonna put it between these boards and then I'm going to clamp it to help me get it in there square. I don't want to endanger losing any of the round in the spine. It is a really good round. I wonder if I can do that from the top. Okay. Oh, this is the fun when you have a really thick Bible. And then it doesn't help my boards are a little thicker than I want to work with, but they're the ones that are available right now. Let's see. Oh, got a little bit more to go.
You have about 3 more turns on the end.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and close that up. So the other thing I find interesting is this book really doesn't have a hollow on it. And that's something that we're going to remedy. We'll definitely employ an Oxford hollow, especially with the age and the brittleness of the leather on that spine plate. We want it to be able to separate from the book when it opens. If we don't put a hollow on it, that spine plate will crack and degrade, and this book will be back in the shop in no time. I'm surprised this lining is actually pretty solid. So we'll take as much of this off manually as we can before we resort to a little bit of paste. There it goes. So we have a couple different cameras going on. The live view is overhead of the bench. And then I've got a couple different angles. So when we do put this on Patreon as a full Bible restoration video, you can have different angles. You can see what's going on at different times. It's also out of focus. Forget this camera. That camera doesn't focus anymore. The servos are just shot. I am surprised at how well stuck this side came off all right. This other side just does not want to go. And I think I just took the backing off of the end band, so I'm going to have to address that. Because that wasn't supposed to happen. Try to do no more damage to that end band. I gotta definitely reattach that. I may have to get this board wet. This lining here is just, well, it's starting to come. I threatened to wet it. So you can see we're exposing the old animal hide glue that's underneath here. The knife I'm using is just a standard bookbinder knife, paper cutter. It's essentially a steak knife, but non-serrated. I'm going to do my best not to damage the folded signatures, and I definitely do not want to damage the sewing at all. I did not do this end band any favors. I think I'll wet that before I try and take it off. I'm feeling like this is about as far as I'm going to get without a little bit of help. All right. So this is some wheat paste. leave it on here for a few minutes to wet the lining, and it'll also help the animal hide glue swell and come away from the spine. All right, so that's worked in there pretty good. I'm gonna take a moment and go rinse my hand, and we will continue our little excavation here. I'll be right back. So normally I would put a piece of saran wrap over this, but I am out. So we're just gonna have to let it. I'm really concerned about this end band. So if you wanted a lesson in what not to do, don't just peel right off. So once I get this off, I'm going to hand it to Marcia, and she's going to clean the paste off. The biggest thing we need to watch out is not to get the decorative side wet, because it will bleed. And if it bleeds, there's no real reversing that.
The ending.
Of the headband, yeah. End band.
No. Do you need this?
No.
Put it away.
I do need this.
Okay. Just remember it's got green on it.
So this is one of those procedures where you just slow and methodical wins the day. Try and rush it, you'll end up with the result that you don't want.
Time to do the torus and not the hair.
we go. So I'm gonna give this back to Marcia to clean up. Just be careful getting paste or anything on that other side. The red is notorious for the bleed. So I would just use a bone folder, scrape as much of that paste off, dry.
Okay.
Let's see how much. This is gonna come off a little easier. All right, this here we're gonna have to handle gingerly until we can repair the layer that I took off of it. All right. So that really wasn't long enough to eat into this, but I was just kind of curious to see what it would take off. It's going to take a couple applications, I think. The animal hide hadn't had anywhere near enough time to expand, bloom, blossom, whatever you want to call it. So I think I'm going to scrape everything off that I can. We'll do another application and we'll let this sit a few minutes. Thank you.
Is there writing on the spine?
Huh? There is. I believe this is 70, and I can't read the scroll. So the client has requested additional birth and death record pages to be added. And originally, I was thinking this Bible was going to need to be resewn. I'm thinking it doesn't need to be resewn, and I'm going to explore options for tipping those extra record pages in once we get them reproduced. One of the problems if I don't take it apart to sew it, it'll make scanning those pages a little bit more difficult, but we'll manage. Again, trying to take off as much of the spine liner as possible so I'm not having to do too many applications of paste. I don't know if you can hear it, but our neighboring photography studio, has their music up. It's always fun during the live broadcast. So we're kind of curious to see if YouTube silences part of our video for copyright infringement, because, we're violating copyright. Do it all the time. Heaven forbid there was just music in the world. So if you can hear any music and you can recognize it, go out and buy that album. Or download whatever it is we do today. I've lost track. Is it reel to reel? Is it 8-track? Is it cassette tape? Is it DVD? Is it crystal meth? Is it MP3? Is it just streaming? So again, the goal is to not damage the folds of the signature. We've done a pretty good job so far. We also don't want to damage the sewing, which in this particular book is recessed. All right, I think I've gotten about as much off of this as I'm going to with that last application. I'm gonna put another application of paste on here, get it wet. I'm gonna go clean my cloth. So with this application, I'm just gonna go make it very nice and even. You want to be careful not to get any into the edges of the pages, so you're always moving outward. Okay, I think that's pretty well coated. All right, so it's 10 to 2. I'm going to go clean up a little bit, and then we're going to come back. I'm going to move the book out of the way, and we're going to take a look at the boards. All right, doing a little clean as you go. Bookbinders are notorious for having messy benches. I'm fine with a messy bench as I'm working, but in between process steps, I like to straighten it up a bit. All right. So what I am going to do, let's bring this board over. All right. So what I want to do with this, I want to trim off this excess leather here in the joint area without cutting into this cloth. So I'm going to put this on the bench, a little bit of pressure underneath here. And I have a very sharp scalpel. And I have somewhere straight edge. I'm going to line this up. See if I can't get this trimmed off. Going all the way to the other side of this board. And I'll do some cleanup when I actually work the boards, but I just want to get this pre-trimmed. And the other thing that we've got going on here is we've got some cords left over from the original binding, and I want to get rid of them a little bit. So I'm going to take my spatula and I'm going to separate this a bit. So there were only 2 cords.
Oh.
Well, that's interesting.
That's not the norm, is it?
All right, so this is sewn through that board. All right. So, make a little space there. Let me take my razor and I trim that off. Little piece tried to get away from me. We're not going to allow that. Well, at least they've got good taste in music.
I mean, yeah. I haven't hated anything they've been playing.
Okay, so I got that one out. Make a little separation here. Can't get this one out. Try and get all of it. There's one little piece of material in there. I don't know that it's enough to worry about. See if I can't. I think that might be already in there. Okay. There's one board down. Before we take a look at the other board, I was going to take a quick look at the spine plate. It's actually in pretty good shape. But yeah, once we get into this, I'm going to have to remove this lining. I'll trim down this material on the side that would go into the hinge area, and I would do some consolidating. So it's a lot of stuff that we'll get into in a future video. I'll have one dedicated to the restoration of this plate itself. All right. Then I have to remove the hardware. This is already started. So I'm going to do the same thing with this. I'm going to trim this edge. All this tape. I think I'm gonna remove this tape, get it out of the way.
What are they doing over there?
Yeah, I'm wondering. They're obviously moving things,
Well, they have
heavy things.
a large umbrella light that's on a stand. I bet you that's what that is. So it's just a little isopropyl alcohol, which should help dissolve this cellophane tape. It'll evaporate quickly, so it's not going to add a lot of moisture to the book. The goal is to lift this without lifting any of the leather or the color or the tooling. All right, I misjudged this. Maybe I need heat. Oh, there it goes. All right.
Getting heat with her too. Oh, you finished all the coffee.
You can thank my mother for that.
I didn't get any.
Well, you know, there's a sink and a burner.
Yep. I do.
All right, so this isn't coming off with the alcohol the way I expected it to. I think let's switch over to some heat. Well, yeah, let's try some heat. Sometimes your process is an experiment. And heat was the answer. Still going to take a little bit of the brown off the leather. But at least it's leaving the gold. And that is something. I can touch the leather up a bit. And we blend this all back together. So things that will release tape. I tried the isopropyl. Tried to say ibuprofen. I use the isopropyl alcohol, and that didn't work. And sometimes a warmed white ammonia will work. I don't have any of that on me. And other times it's heat. I don't recommend Gooby Gone. But there is a 3M adhesive remover that works pretty well as another alternative. I would probably look at that last. And there's obviously going to be, you can see some markings left by the adhesive. So we'll have to go through and remove that. We're coming up on having that paste on there for 20, 25 minutes. And I'm worried that it's going to dry out. So I'm going to switch gears real quick and start reworking that spine. That back into your field of vision. And just going to start working. I want to take off as much of that animal hide as possible. And you'll start seeing as I'm removing it the coloration difference. Unfortunately, with live, there's no way of just fast forwarding unless you come back later and you watch it, in which case you can hit the 2-time button and go through this pretty quick. But in real life, this takes a few minutes. It's one of the reasons bookbinders charge so much is not necessarily material, but the amount of time it takes us to get things into the shape that they need to be. I think you can already start seeing the difference in the color when that animal hide glue is taken away. I'm going to make sure I remove as much of that paste as possible. One of the reasons I use saran wrap when I'm doing this is because I can already feel the paste has started to dry, so it's gummy right now. So I'm gonna get this off as fast as I can. I'm gonna Seriously? All right, this stuff's gumming up pretty good. I need to get the rest of this off before it's too late.
Just about right.
Okay, so there's a few spots left that I'm going to have to go over surgically. But that's a pretty clean spine. All right, so I'm going to do a little bit more on this side. A little bit more over here. This will probably, I'll take this off in a few minutes.
It's good though. So curious what it says.
All right. I'm going to go clean my rag and everything up here. This is a mess. I shall return. Okay, if you haven't heard anything in the last few minutes, it's because I was cleaning some things up. We've got just about everything off of this spine. And I just put a little bit of paste back on to get a couple areas where there's just a little bit of material left on. And I'm going to give it a couple more minutes and then I'll scrape it off. And then we'll talk about the future of this particular spine. So yeah, my goal is not to resew this. It's in really good shape. Yeah, I think so. Resewing it would be just not worth it. So I will come up with a system to tip in the additional sections that were requested, and we'll call it good. Oh yeah, there it goes. That's what we wanted. little dip here, so I want to make sure I get out all the paste. I don't want to leave anything in there to be crunchy for later. All right, I think I'm gonna. I spoke too soon. All right, now I'm gonna call that good. I think I want to reposition it in the press before I do anything further. But I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so it's a little after 2:30. We've taken the boards off. We've stripped the spine. The only thing that I'm going to do further today, at least with this live broadcast on this, is I am going to trim that board that we were working on and take the cords out that were left in there. So I'm going to put this back up. All right, so you can see we've removed this tape. So let's see if the alcohol will take off some of this residue. Yeah, it's starting to move. I don't want to press too hard on this. This may take a couple applications. Now, eventually, once I get all the glue and everything off, we will touch up the leather a little bit. Not too much, because we don't want to take away from its age too much, but we'll touch it up and we'll wax this entire thing before it's all said and done. But I just wanted to take away some of this adhesive that was sticky. It's still sticky on these areas.
this yours or your mom's?
My mother's. Did she leave?
Yeah. Yeah, she slipped out quite a while ago.
Well, I figured she just stepped out to have a smoke.
Oh, that's not come back, so I think maybe she left.
All right. So again, I want to trim this excess leather. It has a bit of red rot to it. So we'll do some consolidation. We want to do consolidation before we do any major pasting, especially with the spine plate, but anywhere that the paste is going to, paste or PVA paste, is going to come into contact with this leather. It has a tendency to darken it, and we don't really want that. So even if it wasn't red rot, we do some mild consolidation, just help to alleviate that particular problem. All right. Line this up. And again, I want to do this while holding pressure. I don't want to cut through all this. All right, so now we're going to trim off some of this excess. There's a scalpel that you can set the depth, and for something like this, that's probably not a bad idea. Certain level of arrogance to say, hey, my hand's steady enough to wield the scalpel and not cut into the lower levels. I don't know if it's arrogance or the fact that I just don't have that other blade. All right. So I'm going to see. Yeah, it was a split board style of binding. There. So I'm going to keep that separated. I need where'd my razor go? Did that one just shut down?
Battery low, power out.
Yep. Well, it's a good thing I'm about done. No. Okay. Scalpels are sharp.
Bad.
It's gonna bleed.
All artists know. Projects take
Okay.
take
All right, everybody. Now, one little piece that's still stuck down in there. I don't want to pull the boards apart too far. Do we have straight plier, tweezers somewhere?
No, we have this first episode. I don't think you bought straight. You might have, but I don't think so.
Bet you people didn't know that bookbinding was a blood sport. And there we go. I got most of it. A little bit left. I think that might be small enough just to call it good because it is tiny and it's in there. All right. We're going to call that good. So I don't know if you can see inside of there, there's a board that's inset into this other board. It's helps give the cover its round. So it's okay. I think that's going to be it for today. And as I'm working through this, every so many days, I am going to post a video on our Patreon page, and it will detail the different steps that we take finishing out this entire project. It'll be available to our patrons. So if you haven't subscribed to patreon.com/bookforge, please do. This is a really fun, cool project. We're going to take it all the way through. So this was the beginning, and we'll take you through each step as we're going along. We're going to cut this short, about 15 minutes, and call it a day. I'm going to go tend to my finger, and I hope everybody has enjoyed this little live session.